Hello, everybody. It's Donna Cravata, and we're back again with another Real 50 Over 50 interview. It's Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. And today we have Dr. Tanya English with us. And she has been working for over 35 years in the healing field, first as a massage therapist, then as a chiropractor for your soul, and an energy healer. She's inspired by the idea that we have been born with the power to heal, but people have not been shown how this works in real life. Her mission is to transform how people view healing. She's committed to her life to helping people heal. It's built into her chiropractic practice and the organization she founded, Quantum Healing International, where she shares her message from the stage. And she's also an active musician. So she brings this all together into the magic that is Dr. Tanya English. Welcome.
I feel like I should have fairy dust over me. Thank you,
Good.
Donna.
I'm good at intros.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy to talk to you. You were on a panel a couple of months back on our spiritual squad panel, and you
Mhm.
said something that day that stopped everybody in their tracks. And what you said was we were talking about trauma healing, and you said you need to move through it, but you do not need to pitch a tent and live there. And everybody on the panel was like writing it down, and I saw it in social media posts days after that.
Wonderful.
It
Oh, good.
it really hit
Yeah,
a
I
nerve.
was talking about that. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We don't pitch a tent and live there. So we want to make sure that we're moving through that valley. That because there are hills and valleys in life, and that the loss of a loved one is a big one.
Mhm.
And I teach a class called Grief as a Doorway to Deeper Healing because it is a really tender time when that happens. And from my own experience, I can tell you that when we actually look for what's the joy in the situation, and I know that sounds crazy to people because they're in this tragic situation, but if you look for what's the good in here, then you can actually find it and you can go and find that treasure that's in the tragedy
Yeah.
because it's there.
Yeah,
But
there's
a
always
lot of people don't want to look for that and they get stuck in their stuff and they get mired in it. And as we were just talking about before we went live, misery loves company because misery loves to complain. And having somebody to complain to, it's great for a while, but I have a rule of 3 that I use. I can talk about how something terrible happened 3 times, and then I have to like deal with it or stop talking about it because that's just putting it deeper into my subconscious. I don't want to keep negative things in my subconscious because my subconscious is running my body. So it's
I'm
not so
gonna
good
adopt
to have negative things running it.
I'm gonna adopt that because I grew up in a household where everything was a blame.
Oh
So,
gosh.
we had to
Yeah.
find somebody to blame it on. And, the talk about, the blame and what went
Yes.
wrong. I mean, it was deep.
Blame and
It went
shame.
on forever. Yeah, the blame and shame. I come
Yeah.
from a Sicilian Hungarian background. So, you know,
We
we
talk about that a lot. People do talk about where they're from or what their background is. And the reason why I think people get so attached to that is because we have all that on our shoulders as we're coming into present time. But what if you didn't have to carry that?
yeah.
What if that wasn't who you really are?
Mhm.
What if that was just the stuff that you're carrying behind you? And what
Yeah.
if you could snip that cord and
It
not
totally
have it
is.
be that?
It totally is. I mean, when I was little, um, it was not a happy childhood,
Mhm.
and I, made up a whole imaginary family that was from Newport, Rhode Island. I didn't even know where Newport, Rhode Island was. I
Did
don't
you
know
live
how
in
I came up
Manson?
with that,
Did you
but
live on the summer cottages?
I had a whole family that somehow left me in Brooklyn, and they were coming back.
Oh my gosh, that's great. What a
But
great imagination. Oh my gosh.
that was my survival skill.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that doesn't work as you get older. So what a lot of what I do with people is help them update what they're actually how to actually deal with those things.
Mhm.
First, we take them out and we show them the sunshine, like the blame, the shame. Let's get it out there in the open, and then we do quantum healing techniques that really dissipate that attachment to the emotion that happens. So when I'm talking about grief, it's not that, or trauma, it's not that what happened was okay.
Mhm.
What we're doing is releasing the attachment emotionally to what happened.
Yeah.
That's true forgiveness. I just did a retreat, or I keep saying it was a retreat because I was there for the day, but it was a workshop on true forgiveness. And my friend Alma Drake was doing sound healing during our time, and it was really wonderful. And then I was using emotional freedom technique, one of the techniques I use, quantum healing techniques, to dissipate that connection. So what we do is with emotional freedom technique, you may or may not know this, but it's called tapping
Mhm.
technique.
Mhm.
And every spot that we tap on is an acupuncture point. Every spot we're tapping on. And it's really easy to do in a little rectangle like this, like online.
Mhm.
And when we're doing it in person, we use the negative that we're feeling about whatever it was that happened. We're tapping on that. So we bring up the negative first to help understand this is how I'm really feeling. Because every time you try to shove those feelings down and you
Mhm.
don't want to deal with them and you avoid them and distract yourself, oh, there's so many ways.
Yeah.
Every time you do that, you're making it so that you can't really be who you really are,
Mhm.
which is a divine expression of love, I would say. And instead, your physiology and your mental and emotional awareness is trapped in the trauma.
Yeah.
So when we do that tapping, we're actually physically changing what our body is doing while we're
Mm.
tapping.
I love that, trapped
Mm.
in the well, I don't know if I
Mhm.
actually love that, but it
It's
it
a
it
nice
is
phrase.
really it's profound. It's
Yeah.
profound because it really is what happens. You do get trapped in there, and
Yeah. And
and
it
that's
can
why
linger
and that's why you can't
forever.
do this alone because
No.
that's what happens. Like, you'll do, like, a certain amount of healing, and then you'll get stuck there because you can't you need a guide.
Yeah, you need somebody who knows what they're doing to be able to guide you. I've had people that we go lots of weird places when we're doing this kind of work. So I'll release attached entities from people. This is like on the far end of the spectrum where I'm releasing attached entities, where we're retrieving parts of our soul that we've left behind in this trauma. So we retrieve those. We're bringing ourselves back to ourselves. And that gives us more self compassion. And when we have compassion for ourselves, it spills over to everybody around us. So,
Mhm.
my highest good is good for everybody because it's giving unconscious, subconscious permission to everybody around me to be at their highest good.
Yeah.
So, it's really one of those things where one plus one might equal two, but it might equal 1,000 too.
Yeah.
So,
That's
fantastic.
so that's so aligned with the work that I do with clients, even though
Mhm.
what I do is totally different than what you do, um,
Mhm.
and I do it through their content.
Mhm.
So I help them pull together the parts of the things that they forgot about themselves, about their
Yeah.
accomplishments and their work and their impact, and bring it together so they can kind of create this vehicle of all of the best, let go of what they no longer need, and then create this vehicle of the best to take them into this next chapter, whatever it might be. It's really very much an alignment. It's of, getting
Yeah.
rid of the space junk.
Yeah, you don't need it. To keep putting yourself in the box of this is how I grew up is not
Yeah,
helpful to moving forward. You do
no.
have to acknowledge it, but once you
Mhm.
acknowledge it, then it's easier to release it and heal it. Because
Yeah.
if you just keep pushing it down, then you don't get to it. And one of the places that we hold that is in the psoas muscle, which is along second chakra in the
Yeah,
pelvis. And
yeah.
this muscle is where second chakra is where people dump all the feelings they don't want to feel. And so when we're doing chakra work, we spend some time on second chakra. We keep going back to it. So we might
Mhm.
go up higher and then come back to it, and then go up higher and come back. Because this is a place where we put our energy of not wanting to deal with it. And I just was changing my website around. You're talking about content, and I just started a programs page where people can take classes
Mhm.
um, online for some of these things that I'm teaching.
Mhm.
Um, the chakra problem solver is a class that I teach. So we go through each chakra and we talk about it, and then we tap on the affirmations. And then there's also the how to release toxic people from your life. And that's a really
Oh,
great one
wow.
because everybody knows
That's
somebody that when they're done with them, they're just like, they need to
you know,
regroup.
I did that with almost my entire family.
Yeah, it happens like that. I'm
Yeah.
going to put the link here in the chat if anybody sees it. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'll
It
put it
should.
in.
It
Okay,
should.
great. So I'll put that in there so they can go to that page and look at the classes. It's a great way to start if you're not used to doing energy healing, if it's something you haven't done or you just want to see what I'm up to. There's also other programs in there. We have a 3-month accelerated healing program, a 7-month chakra problem. That's the path to joyful purpose. It goes 7 months because we do a chakra each month.
Mhm.
And then there's also the grief as a doorway to deeper healing is in there too.
Mm.
Also with VIP days, we do those. That's really fun because we spend a day just working on what you want to break through on, and that can be pretty intense, but it's also
Probably need to sleep for a week after that.
well, it's very freeing for sure.
Yeah.
And if your body's been doing a lot of physiology to hold things down, are you sleeping on your stomach? Um, holding it all down, then yeah, you're gonna sleep. You're gonna sleep a lot better. It's really fun.
It's ama like, I didn't know about any of this until maybe 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and, I've done a lot of healing work, but I know that I have only put a dent in it.
Yeah, I know it. And it continues. People are like,
Yeah.
how often do you have to go to the chiropractor? Well,
Mm.
you how many light bulbs how many chiropractors does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, it takes one, but you have to go back over and over and over again. But the reason why that's true is because you're going to have stress in your life again. You're going to have stuff that you deal with. I'm talking about chiropractic can be moving bones, and it can be the work that I'm doing too, because I'm still removing interference so the body can heal. And that's chiropractic philosophy 101.
Yeah.
Removing the interference doesn't stop at the bone. It's the
Mm.
muscles that are pulling the bones out of place. And the muscles are getting their information from the subconscious. And the
Mm.
subconscious is getting its information from how you feel. So there's a chart on the wall over here. It's got
Mhm.
apples on it. Maybe you can see it. That's 140 feelings on that chart. And so when I'm working with somebody, I'm looking to see through muscle testing which feeling is going to release this pattern of physiology that's causing an upset in them. So we're relying on the body, not what you're thinking, because your thinking will screw things up every time, right?
Gotta get
So
out of
we're
your head.
relying on the body to really show us. It's very simple. It would take me 3 days to explain it, but it's very simple to do.
Everything that's simple is not easy, right?
Right? It's a lot. There's a lot behind it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to also say that the reason why I'm doing this, and people want to know what's behind all this. Um, I've had lots of things happen in my life, but one of the most significant things that happened was about 11 years ago, or no, not 11, 31. See how time flies? 31 years ago, I had a baby that was stillborn. It was my first child. And he had a beautiful pregnancy, 9 months. And then during labor, everything turned, and he was not alive when he was born. And it was an amazing experience, not from just the perspective of, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But at the same time, my doctor mind was going, what am I learning from this? Because I understand that everything's happening for me, not to me.
Mhm.
That's a big one.
That is a big
It's
one. That's
happening
another
for
one of
me.
those simple, not easy.
And is it, if everything's happening to the highest good, show me the good about this, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
This is terrible. And I look to my left, and there's my husband sitting there helping me breathe, keeping me alive. nurturing me. And I'm like, well, that's amazing. That's good. My sister in love, I call her my sister in love. She was married to my brother in law at the time. She's a nurse. She's on the other side of me, helping me push, helping me get the baby out.
Mm-hmm.
And then my in laws were there. So people were showing up, and I felt just this cocoon of love around me. And then later, later that year, I went to the Mississippi Valley Blues Fest, and the Blind Boys of Alabama put a healing on me just in their performance. And I had waves and waves of love flowing through me. So I was just asking God, put me where I need to be for healing. I don't care where it is, just put me there. And that was one of the things that happened. And later on, fast forward 25 years, my mentor in blues singing, Miss Gloria Hardiman, Alligator Records recording artist, said, I'm best friends with the last surviving original blind boy. His name's Jimmy Carter, not the president. And she said, he wants to meet you. I told him about you. So we went and had dinner with them. And subsequently, we've been friends with the Blind Boys of Alabama. And then later that year, I was performing in the Blues Fest, delivering Healing with the Blues, telling this story. It's amazing how things can come full circle. I mean, if you just allow it to show up, it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think that that's, like, if you allow it to happen, that's one of the sweetest gifts of this stage of life because, so many things that have happened, um, at the time, we don't understand why or
No.
how or what it means, but when you can reflect back, um, objectively and lovingly, you can really kind of put the pieces together in a way
Yeah.
that make you understand, like, who you are and where you are right now.
Yeah, and bring you closer to source.
Yeah.
I use the term source because sometimes people get a little weird about God, but if it's the source of all that is, that's what I'm talking about. And we all have that within us in every cell, molecule, and atom. Why not get closer to it? Why
Mhm.
not discover what that is for each person, for ourselves, so that we can be at that level of faith and belief that we know that we're being cared for, that we know that we're being listened to,
Yeah.
we're being heard. Because a lot of people don't feel heard. There's
No,
a lot of people right now that don't feel heard,
no,
and
and
they
there
get
was
angry about it. And I say, instead of getting angry about it, do something.
yeah,
Look inside.
when that happens, it's
Mhm.
also an indicator that you're speaking to the wrong people.
That's right. Because when anger is just another form of fear.
Yeah.
So it's love and fear, not love and hate.
Mhm,
Hate means you care.
mhm,
You hate something, you care about it somewhat. But fear is the opposite. Fear will bring on every negative feeling you can think of. That whole blame and shame thing,
mhm.
that's fear.
Yeah,
And being afraid to look within and see how you are takes it's a fear thing. I mean, we all have fear of what we're going to find there. And when I tell my clients and my patients is that you can be afraid of it, but courage means you do it anyway.
mhm.
You look anyway. And
Yeah,
it does take courage to want to look inside and see what's there. But I guarantee your molecules are not going to fly apart. You're not going to explode like a volcano. You might cry a lot, and that's okay. That's very cleansing. You might actually laugh with the joy of the lightness of knowing that you're not in that cage anymore. You're not in that prison anymore. So there's a lot that can happen. And emotions are not something to be sorry about. I hear people do this when they start to cry. They say, "I'm sorry."
yeah,
Like, you know what? Would it be nice if we lived in a culture that said, "No, this is good. You're cleaning and you're safe enough to do that right here, right now. That's a good thing."
Well, unfortunately, we're getting further and further away from that.
Well, I think it can be an individual thing.
Yeah, it
I
has
know a
to
lot
be.
of people are angry right now and upset, and the worst thing you can do is to stay in fear
Yeah,
and to stay
absolutely.
in the negative feeling.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Well, you do things that are positive. Like, I'll march for something, but I won't march against something.
Mhm.
I don't want to give it more power than it has
Like
already.
that. I saw something the other day that said the best thing that we can do is to laugh.
It makes a big difference. I
Yeah,
mean, it is the best medicine after all.
yeah.
That's a saying because it's true.
Mhm.
It's because if you're laughing, then you're not taking things too seriously. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll give you an example. Um, people thought what happened to us was a tragedy and our baby dying. And it was, of course, it's a tragic thing. But we were busy um, grieving and watching TV, and a commercial came on and said, "There's nothing worse than a yeast infection." And we both went, "Oh my God, thank God." Because we thought it was bad, but apparently there's nothing worse than that. So
So that now became your
we're fine.
barometer.
Yeah, exactly. So they took that commercial off pretty quickly, I think. I was like, nothing worse. I can think of one thing that would be worse. But it makes such a difference when we have some perspective too. That was
Mhm.
2 weeks after,
Yeah,
maybe less than two
and you're
weeks
still
after.
talking about it 31 years
Yeah,
later.
because it was hysterically funny.
Yeah,
I mean, to measure what's so bad.
yeah, to
So when
measure your
people
life
say,
by a yeast
yeah,
infection.
it's a tragedy that we were going through, because everybody will tell you, oh, that's so tragic, losing a baby like that. And it is, except that there's been so many blessings that have come out of that.
Mhm.
When we actually
Yeah,
look for it. So I say, take some action, knock, and the door will be open, seek and you'll find. I mean, that's real.
yeah.
So when you seek, what's the joy in this? For crying
Mhm,
out loud, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
mhm,
Well, is it? I don't know. There's been some pretty terrible things. Let's measure everything. It
mhm.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's just you have to deal with it in the moment when you can, when you actually can deal with it, because there is a time for just crying about things. And sometimes it'll hit me again and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that was, and it'll just take me a moment and I'll see something on a movie or something and I'll go, oh, this is really hitting me. Some more is coming up. This is good. It's okay. People are always talking about the waves that come in when you don't expect them. And that's one of the things that I help people deal with,
Mhm.
is how do you deal with that wave that's coming up that you don't expect, and all of a sudden, ugh, you just want to cry. You just want to just cry. But we can also do other things about that too. So that's what I help people with, is to move through those times, because it's never, it's not over until there's a flat line, right? It's always going. But when you get that flat line, then you're done. But we are always going up and down. We're always moving through things, up and down, up and down. The flat line is you're done.
Yeah.
But moving through things is really, the idea is to not have these high valleys and high peaks and low valleys, but to make it more a wave.
Gradual
Yeah. So you can
and
ride that
even
wave and be in the flow.
yeah. Well, a life is an adventure for sure.
Yeah, it is. And if you don't think so, maybe you need a little help with that.
So, now how did the whole soul chiropractor come into you? Because I
Oh,
mean, you were a chiropractor first, right? And
yeah,
then kind of
I was a massage therapist first, and then I thought, well, I was working in chiropractic offices, and I said, why don't I just go be a chiropractor?
mhm,
So I went to chiropractic college. In fact, we lost the baby. The baby died the last trimester I was in school. It's
mhm,
10 trimesters to go through chiropractic college. And so as I'm going through this, and I'm moving through, and I'm starting to do more intuitive work. Um, my coach, who taught me how to do intuitive energy scans, this is the way we start working with people, is we do a scan of their chakras because they all have stories. And so I ask Source, give me what I need to know about this person to help them. Let me see root chakra. Let me see sacral chakra. Let me see solar plexus. And I go through and write whatever's coming into my mind. And then I'll talk to the person about what they want to accomplish, and we'll set up a plan. So I was working with my coach, and he said, it's like you're a soul chiropractor. I go, what? He says, well, what do chiropractors do? I said, oh, they remove interference. So the body, removing
Oh,
interference from,
ding, ding,
so the
ding, ding,
body can,
ding.
okay, I get it. And then the very next week, I was introduced to somebody, one of my patient's girlfriends, and he said, this is Tanya. She's a chiropractor. Well, she's a chiropractor for your soul. And I was like, oh, I think that's going on my card.
Yeah.
Now, this is independent corroboration. They don't know each other. It's timing is everything.
Yeah.
And that is really what I do. I help people clear out the stuff that's in their soul that is keeping them from living their true light, from shining their light. It's
Now,
a process.
do you do that virtually also, or you have
Yeah,
in
that's why
person?
it's international, because Quantum Healing International is the website,
Mhm,
and it's international because I work with people all over the world. I think I've worked in every continent so far.
mhm,
So it makes a difference, because what we do is not, it's not bound by time and space. When you're thinking about somebody, they're feeling it. And when you hang up the phone from talking to somebody, they're hearing what your next thought is. Like, so when you hang up the phone, make sure that you think a happy thought, not, oh my God, I can't believe I had to talk to that person. What a pain in the ass.
To me, that's the elimination indicator.
Yeah, it can be a little challenging. Like, that was interesting. But thinking a loving thought or a happy thought about that person really helps people to move forward too, because you're sending that energy.
Mhm,
There's no, I mean, we have this amazing technology. Now let's bring our spiritual technology up to this level where we are right now, because we
mhm,
can actually do that. And it doesn't mean that um, we can only do it that way. I do have people that come in, chiropractic patients come into the office, energy healing patients I see online. It's a nice place to do it because I want to be in my safe space. I want you to be in your safe space.
mhm,
So if they don't have a safe space, they can come here.
mhm,
But they're going to need to be able to lie down where they are when I'm
mhm,
working with them virtually. So a lot of times I'll say, just prop your phone if we're on the phone.
mhm,
And I was recently working with someone in Holland. Just prop the phone next to the side of your bed and lay down so I
mhm,
can see your face, so I can see what's going on.
mhm.
And it works really well. And nobody taught me how to do that. That was something that was given to me. That was downloaded. Oh, try this. Oh, I think I'll try that. And it worked. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. So I've been doing that for over 10 years now. I
Mhm.
didn't start with COVID. I started in 2014 doing healing with people on the phone and on Skype.
Mhm. Oh,
And the
Skype.
first, yeah, the first international client I had was in the Seychelles Islands. Now you can't get farther away from Iowa than the Seychelles Islands. I mean, pretty much that's as far as you can go. It's the other side and the other half of the world. And we had an amazing experience. And she's been doing healing ever since.
Mhm.
And I have to share this because this happened this morning. I just got a message from my virtual assistant who's in the Philippines. And he said, and this is somebody who reads all my things, works on all my videos. He said, um, do you remember a few months ago when I mentioned how your breathing exercise helped me with a challenges I was facing at that time. It really made a difference for me. Your videos and teachings continue to motivate me to face my fears and find positivity in every challenge I encounter. I mean, this is a virtual assistant telling me this because he's looking at all the things that I do.
Yeah.
And what a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. So without even trying, you're making an impact.
Yeah. And I I'm just so grateful to be able
Mhm.
to do the work that I do because I want to raise the vibration of the planet. And that starts with each individual. Because when I'm working with one person, I'm not just working with that one person, I'm working with everybody that they come into contact with.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it spreads out.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. We want this. I mean, can you imagine if we had some people, I won't mention names, if we had some people who are in power that actually dealt with the
Yeah.
stuff that they have been so afraid of, that they keep putting stuff out there in front of them
It
because of the fear that they have?
it's kind of what I think about 24/7.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are. Some nights it's not easy to get to sleep, but I'm doing a sleep thing later, I think this afternoon, where I'm going to be doing sleep tapping for everybody. So you can come to that. It's on LinkedIn.
It's, I mean, I think that in the last couple of months, it has become abundantly apparent that we each need to do our individual work and show up as the best version that we could possibly be, and that is the best defense we have.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, what you push against, you give energy to.
Mhm.
So put the energy in yourself and bring yourself up to the level of being the spiritual being and having the human experience that you want to have, instead of being tossed and turned by things outside of you.
Yeah.
This is the grounding way to do it. This is the way that you can have the most fun in your life. I believe that, because you never know how wonderful things are going to show up. So the first thing I want to think when I wake up is, I wonder what wonderful surprise will happen today.
I think that every morning as soon as I sit at my desk, because I spent 25 years working in law firms, and it's
Mm,
not fun.
right? That's a lot of not
And,
fun.
like, I didn't even realize that fun was an option. It was, "This is work, and it's called work because it's not fun," right? But when I started my business, which is now close to 19 years ago, um, I learned that there's a whole other world out there,
Yeah,
and every day, every single day for close to 19 years, I have either learned something, connected with someone I never expected to connect to, or the day took a turn that, you know, whether it was positive or negative, it just took a turn and it was different.
yeah.
It wasn't the same thing every day, and even if it isn't a positive thing that happened, I'm like, exactly what you've been saying for the last half hour. There's a gift in everything, and look for that.
You got to look for it.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's like, I know there's a pony in here somewhere.
it's a
There's all this
pony.
pile of pony poop. There's got to be a pony around here.
It came from something.
Well, we want healing to be fun. I mean, it shouldn't
Uh,
be drudgery. That's
yeah,
why I say these things, because let's have some lightness about it. It doesn't have to be this big, heavy, serious thing.
no,
There's so much out there right now. And I'm going to say something that's really off for most people. You're seeing all the negative, but you don't know how much positive there is going on out there. I'm hooked into that feeling, that of what people are doing. I'm doing classes on that. I'm taking the classes on that, that there is this groundswell happening. It's called ascension.
yeah,
And this is part of it.
yeah,
And you don't realize it because it looks so awful. And I'm going to tell you, that's right, it does feel awful. But just like how chromosomes pull apart when cells
mm,
start to divide, that's what we're having happen right now. And so something greater is going to be made from this, but you got to do your part
yeah,
and pay attention to what's going on with you and clear up the stuff that you don't need anymore. You don't need it.
yeah,
You don't need to keep telling yourself what your history is. 3 times. Remember that rule of 3. If
I
you're not
love
gonna deal with it, stop talking about it.
I love that. I love that. And on that note, I usually like to end these with a wisdom bomb, but you've wisdom bombed for 34 minutes.
Sorry. I can sing a little song if you want.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be
Okay,
great.
I'll sing my theme song.
Okay.
Healing with the blues. That's right, I'm healing with the blues. I've got nothing left to lose. That's why I'm healing with the blues. Such a pain inside. The love that's there for me, I have denied. I've never had the blues this long, this deep, this wide. That's why I'm healing with the blues.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your wisdom here. And this is why I do this, because I know that there are stories that need to be told. And even if it lands on one person when they need to hear it, this was worth every second.
Thank you so much, Donna, for doing what you're doing. It makes a difference.
I know it does, and thank you for doing what you're doing, because it's going to be us that changes the world.
Oh, that's right. Didn't Dalai Lama said Western women are going to change the world? I think he did.
I think he did. That would be us, right?
That's right. That's us, you and me.
Yeah, so keep watching, because we're doing some stuff over here.
Absolutely.
Okay, have a great Wednesday, everybody. If you're watching on the replay, tag us with questions, comments, ideas, thoughts, and we'll keep the conversation going. In the meantime, get on over to Quantum Healing International. Connect with Dr. Tanya English, because she is incredibly special and she's doing work that matters. So
Thank you.
thank you. See you all next week.